Folks, it is Monday. It is the 1st of December, which means it's time for Monday Night Nerd. Welcome, one and all, to the show. We got a great show ahead of us tonight for the next hour. I will be here, and we will be talking about cosplay and photographers. If you're new into cosplay or you've never done a cosplay photo shoot, I am going to give you some tips and tricks to make sure you get the best out of your next photo shoot. Whether, again, you are new to this or you've never done one before and you just have no idea what to expect, I got some tips for you. I hope you're all doing well here on YouTube, here on TikTok, and here on Instagram Live. We are here all different platforms on social media because I want you guys to have the benefit to see me wherever you want. Andrew Saxon is in sight. Happy Monday all. How are you, sir? We got a good show ahead of us. I hope you've had a great week. It has been a great week for me. Tomorrow is a big day at my work, so today was a really busy day getting everything ready. I work at a non-for-profit, and if you've ever worked at a non-for-profit, you know tomorrow after Black Friday and Cyber Monday, there is Giving Tuesday, and Giving Tuesday is a big thing in the philanthropy world, in the non-for-profit world. So tomorrow is our big day. So did a lot today, gonna do even more tomorrow. So yeah, busy day today. Let's talk a little bit about, we got some gaming stuff. We got some other stuff going on. Boomster Joe's in chat. Freakish Workshop is in chat as well. If you guys on TikTok and Instagram are wanting to be a part of the show, click over to YouTube, Corp Cosplay. That is where I will be answering all questions and seeing what you guys are talking about. Let's talk about over the weekend. It was Black Friday, and I hope you all had a great time buying stuff, but didn't spend too much because I don't want you guys getting into trouble with debt. What did I pick up over the weekend? I picked up a video game. I picked up Lego Horizon for the PS5, which was perfect because after they tanked the price and a bunch of people picked it up, they then announced that it will be free next month on the PlayStation Plus network. So thank you, PlayStation. I appreciate that one. So I picked that up. I also, actually today, just before we came live here on the podcast, I did order some cosplay stuff, some stickers and some business cards. They will be arriving the next little while, and they will be ready for the 2026 con convention. So if you see me in 2026 at a convention where I'm guesting, I will probably have some stuff for sale that you guys may want that isn't just a big picture of my face. I've got some stickers and some cosplay cards that I think you guys are going to find really cool. Other than that, I don't think I picked up a DC Multiverse figure, and that's it. Not a whole ton this year. There was some things that I had in a cart, but the deals weren't that great. This past weekend, I went to the first PWHL Toronto Scepters game of the season. If you don't know, my wife and I are season ticket holders for the PWHL, half season tickets. We only do half of the games, but still, really fun time. If you've never been to a PWHL game, the Women's Professional Hockey League, they do an incredible job. I love going to them. It's their second year with half seasons. Great first game. We lost, but still a fun time heading out to the Toronto, going to the exhibition grounds. We're excited for the rest of the season, and hopefully we do better than we did last year because we didn't win the championship. What do we want to talk about? Let's talk about video games, and then we're going to talk about Survivor Series. Video games. Over the weekend, I finally finished Power Wash Simulator 2. It was a lot of fun. It did become a little bit of a grind at the end. I know I could have jumped to another game, but I like just running through games and finishing them. But it was a lot of fun. It was quite bigger than the first game, which made me very happy, especially with how much they were charging. And if you don't know, the original Power Wash Simulator came out 3 years ago. The sequel came out this year, and it is the exact same price for pretty much double the game, which made a lot of fans very happy. So that's the great part about indie studios doing stuff like that, is giving back to their fans because they knew they were going to already sell 1,000 copies of it, and they did. It was great. I had a lot of fun playing it, a lot of new features in this game. Highly recommend it. It is such a fun sit down game that just you can sit down and relax. Fandom Frontier in chat. Marvel Cosmic Invasion dropped today. It is fire. Marvel meets Turtles. I can't wait to try that. I really can't wait to try that. And actually, Fandom Frontier is really going to enjoy the next thing I talk about, because after I was done that, I didn't want to jump into a big game because I have other Resident Evils to play and a whole lot more. I wanted an arcade game. So what I threw in was Retro Realms, Halloween, and Evil Dead combo, which I picked up from Niagara Game Con. I threw that in last night just to play around a little bit, and man, is it fun. If you've not seen this, a studio called Retro Realm released a 2-pack game on one disc, and it's a side-scrolling beat-em-up, well, not even a side-scrolling beat-em-up, like an old-school SNES side-scroller of one's Halloween and one is Evil Dead with Ash, Bruce Campbell. And it is a lot of fun. I played Halloween first. You're running around as Michael Myers and you are killing people. There is a alternate reality part to it. It is such a fun game. There's also like you're literally like when you start the game up, you are a POV in an arcade, and then you go into a back room and there's trophies you can unlock throughout the game. They're different parts of the game, so like you unlock Michael's mask, his original costume when he was a kid, his knife, and a whole bunch of other stuff. It's super exciting, super happy, and I didn't know that. With the disc, I also got the DLCs, so I get to play as a second version of the game where I play as Laurie, and for the Evil Dead, I play as, I cannot remember, but it's the girl from Ash vs. Evil Dead, the TV show. So I'm so excited to play this some more. It was a lot of fun playing as Michael, and I cannot wait to get into the Ash version of the game. Other than that, let's talk about Survivor Series. So Survivor Series, if you're a WWE fan, was on Saturday. It was their fall annual classic. I believe this is the 39th year that they have done it. I have been a wrestling fan since 1997. We had a lot that day. So if you don't know. We left at about 10 o'clock in the morning. We went to what is called the One of a Kind show in Toronto, which is right next door to the PWHL. Did a whole bunch of shopping for a couple hours. Then we did the game, and then we came home, and then I watched Survivor Series. I enjoyed the event. This was John Cena's last PLE. It was nice seeing a final goodbye to John Cena. If you've been following lately, John Cena, spoilers, lost the Intercontinental Championship back to Dominic Mysterio, which I kind of assumed he wouldn't go into his final match with it. Other than that, the pay-per-view was pretty good. I will fully admit, I fell asleep through that last War Games match, though. I could not keep my eyes open. I was absolutely exhausted, and I was laying on the couch, and everyone's music hit, and I just dozed right off. I woke up just at the end when I saw the end of it. Survivor Series was in Vancouver. No, Survivor Series was in San Diego. Actually, I have a friend who got the amazing honor to run down there. She took some photos. She was with the photography people who were doing the meet and greet photos. So I'm super excited. She is on her way back, and I can't wait to hang out with her again and pick her brain about what it was like to shoot with the WWE guys, because she was super excited to go down. But yeah, I watched the clips of what I missed in that match. It looks like I didn't miss a whole ton. The women's War Games match was a lot of fun. John was great. Fandom Frontier says Survivor Series was good, but it was predictable. If you saw the card prior to, you could literally tell who would win. Still fun to watch. Yeah, agreed. It was good, but it wasn't something I was incredibly excited about. Yeah, I kind of knew John was going to lose the belt, and I kind of knew what was going to go into the men's War Games, so I wasn't too excited about that. But it's a WWE pay-per-view, so I'm excited. And I realized today, come January, I was really excited. I was actually planning on inviting a couple people over to watch the Royal Rumble, because that is one of my favorite pay-per-views, but we are going to see Ghost that night. Ghost is in Toronto that night, so I will not be watching the Royal Rumble live. That's rare for me to not watch the Rumble. I've missed one WrestleMania I've missed, and this will be the first time I've missed a Royal Rumble. So, oh well, it happens. I'm not a hardcore fan like I used to be, but it still would be cool to have some people over and watch it. And that's kind of it for the news. It's kind of been a slow week, which has been nice. I'm definitely going to start working on my new cosplay because I've got finally decided what I'm going to do. And if you did not see my story today, I guess I can officially announce it. I will be working on Darius from League of Legends. I do not have the physique for it, but I'm still going to do it. I'm really excited to do this one. I have a different skin for him. I've got a cosplay for that, but no, I'm going to do the original, and I'm super excited to start building again. My 3D printer is being a giant pain in the ass, so that I'm building all this out of foam makes me so much happier, because if I pick something I was going to have to 3D print, I was going to throw it through the wall, because my 3D printer is just being a pain right now. But yeah, so that's going to be the next little while. I'm going to try and shoot as much as I can. I'm also going to pop on here and do some lives, so you guys can hang out. We can talk cosplay and stuff like that. Let's jump into the sponsor, and then we will kick off the main event. Folks, if you're still here, I greatly appreciate it. Seriously, I greatly appreciate Thanks, Boomster. Boomster said, I liked your dancing video last week. Yeah, you know what? Let's talk about that before we jump into the main event. So for those who don't know, I posted a video on Instagram last week of me doing pole dancing for the first time. The backstory behind that is I have a friend who has been doing that for a long time, probably about 5 years, 5 years, I think. She's been doing it, and she's been incredible in it, and they do showcases every couple of months where they just do performance, and it was a lot of fun. She invited us, and we said, sure, we'd love to go. We've gone in the past, and they were a little short on routines. I think a couple people backed out for some reason. And I knew in the past they've said, if you want to come up and do something, like don't hesitate. And I guess they did a performance, and then they did a break, and then they kind of had all of us go on the floor and do some stuff. And then they did another thing, and then they did a break. And then the second break, they said, is there any guys that want to come up and give this a shot? And my wife just shoved me up there, and I'm like, all right, I guess I'll do it. As I said a couple weeks ago, I threw my back out, so I was really concerned about what could happen. And I'm sitting there holding the pole like this could end really badly. And they taught us a move, and then they gave us like 30 seconds, and then they taught us a move 30 seconds, taught us a move 30 seconds. And yeah, it was fun. Like I don't mind making an ass out of myself at all. Like I totally am cool with it. This, however, was the first time where I remember doing it and was like really felt awkward doing it, because usually with things like I don't mind doing cosplay stuff and doing, going up on stage. I don't mind doing shitty karaoke and stuff like that. But there's usually I've usually done something close to it, so I kind of know what's happening. So if I go up and do karaoke, I'm obviously going to pick a song that I kind of know I can sing a little bit. I'm not going to pick Celine Dion and just butcher it. So I kind of could do stuff like that. This was one of the first times where I was like, I'm going into this completely cold. I don't know if I can do this. And if you notice in that video, the first time I swing the pole to my back and I lean forward and my feet go out from under me, because I'm wearing socks on a floor, I was like, I hate this. I kind of hate this. The last move was the worst, because they're like, okay, now you're going to get on all fours and you're going to spread your legs out and try and dip down. And she's doing this with knee pads on. And I'm like, I'm not wearing knee pads. These are going to kill my knees. And it sure as shit did. The next 3 days, I've got a black and blue mark on my knees, and they hurt like hell. I think Saturday was the first day where I'm like, oh, my knees don't hurt anymore. But it was fun. I don't mind. Again, I don't mind making an ass on myself, but it was just something I should have been more prepared for, in the way of get your mindset into it, but I just wasn't. So I don't mind posting the video and stuff like that. Again, I'm 37. There's nobody I'm impressing. If anyone thinks that's embarrassing, sorry guys, but that's just the way I am. I don't care. Yes, thank you for bringing that up, Boomster. I appreciate that. If you guys are still here, why? If you guys are still here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. Sponsor, as always, you know it. My beautiful, loving, amazing, incredible wife who pushes me out into the middle of a pole dancing thing to do little routines. I would not be here without her. You guys know that. I say it every single week. Yeah, she is amazing, and she has made me a better person. So, hun, you will always be my sponsor. All right, folks, let's jump into the main event. Let's talk about cosplaying and photographers. So, if you've been in the cosplay game for a very long time, you've probably done a photo shoot with a professional photographer before, and you kind of know what to expect and, kind of get the idea of what's going to happen. However, there are a ton of new people in the cosplay world who don't know what to do with photographers and what to expect and what questions to ask. I was one of those a mere 2-3 years ago. Originally, I was just going to do self shoots. Like, I was just going to get my camera on my phone and, stand behind this wall or stand in front of this wall and just take photos. But there's a local, I wouldn't say local, there's a cosplay magazine that I just threw out an application and just for the hell of it, and they said yes, and I was excited about that. And then when they messaged and said, you need professional photographs to be in this magazine, and we need photos in like a week, and I panicked. And I was quickly, within hours, scrolling through Instagram, photographers, cosplay, just trying to find something. And I ended up finding a great photographer named Tyrone, who I've pimped out 1,000 times on my page. Pretty much any professional cosplay photos you see of mine are done by Tyrone. He's incredible. And he was able to come into Hamilton, and we did a quick shoot outdoors in my Luigi cosplay, where I was freezing my butt off because it was the first snowfall of the year, which I was not prepared for. And I'm in a silk, not a silk shirt, but I'm in a dressier shirt, freezing my ass off. But it was at that point where I was like, okay, this is a new adventure, a new thing in the cosplay world that I'm not really prepared for, and I don't really have the knowledge for it, and there wasn't really many videos out there at this time to tell you about cosplay photography. So my thought on this is, let me explain kind of what I went through, and also I realized that I am a white male. My wife used to be a cosplayer, and when I first met her, she did a bunch of shoots that, to be honest, there was one that I was really not happy about, and I'm really not judgmental, but when the photos came back for this, I could tell very quickly, and so did she, why this guy was taking photos. So we'll talk about that and a whole bunch more stuff. I got some points that we're going to go over, things to think about when you're looking for a photographer, what you should think about during your first shoot, and so on and so forth. So let's talk about picking your photographer at the beginning. So you've got an amazing cosplay, you want to show off your cosplay, you want the best photos. What do you do? Well, the best thing is to pick someone who obviously has a portfolio, has a shooting style, and has a bunch of cosplayers showcasing their photos from them. So if you're looking for somebody, my best advice is to go on social media, go onto TikTok, go onto Instagram, go onto Facebook, YouTube, wherever, and type in cosplay photography and narrow it down to your area. Now, that could be the same city, that could be a sister city, a brother city, I don't know. It depends on the photographers. Some photographers are willing to travel, some want to just do them at conventions, some want that is something that you're going to have to figure out later. But first, let's figure out what you are looking for in a photographer. Are you wanting something that is going to be, do you want someone who wants to do just a quick shoot? Do you want someone who's going to take a lot of time with their photos and do a whole bunch of editing? And, you could do things that are going to make you smaller, things that are going to pretty up your face, that you might have some things that need to be changed. Do you want someone that is just going to send you raw photos? Do you want someone who's going to do a ton of different things? This is something I really like to think about because I'm a creative person myself. So when I was looking for a photographer and I talked to Tyrone, I explained to him, look, I really need a photographer. I really need to do this. But the main thing I want to let you know is I'm a creative person. I know how to use Photoshop and stuff like that. Are you cool with me mucking around with your photos after? Because a lot of photographers, I shouldn't say a lot, a few photographers that I have talked to about photo shoots, they've said, I don't like people doing that. And it's not that they don't trust me. It's just the photo is kind of their thing. And if I muck with it, it might I might change something and I might tag them on it and people think that that change is theirs and it could impact them. So I get it. 100% I get it. But that's just my thing where I'm like, I'm that guy who likes to tweak stuff. So maybe I might screw around with some stuff later. So do your research, find out which photographer kind of fits your vibe. Most of them are on Instagram and they'll have photo shoots that they've done. The funny thing with Tyrone is Tyrone's an incredible cosplay photographer. He barely posts any cosplay stuff. He does a whole bunch of different modeling shots, and I think he does sport shots and stuff like that. So even photographers that aren't showcasing cosplay stuff, still reach out to them if you really dig their style, because they might want to try cosplay. They may I've talked to at least one photographer who was like, I've never thought of doing cosplay, and someone reached out and said they wanted to do a photo shoot, and he's like, I love doing cosplay shoots now. So even if they're not showcasing it, at least reach out, because you never know, they might want to try. They might be looking for a cosplayer and not know how to reach out to cosplayers, so you might be that little bridge that helps them. So find out your shooting style, and definitely when you narrow it down to a few, you should definitely throw out some feelers to other cosplayers you may know and get their thought about what this photographer is like, because they might be able to let you know something through the grapevine or even one-on-one about what this photographer is like, because there might be some that are very good at hiding those red flags, because portfolios look incredible on Instagram and all over their websites. But if you can talk to cosplayers who have worked with them, or even just other people who've done shoots with them, they can give you a great idea and say, hey, this is, this person's cool. This person's, there's maybe some issues with this person. Don't go into them cold if you can't. Like, try and get definitely a review or two from a couple cosplayers or a couple people who have shot with them to see what they're like in person. Because again, photos can look amazing, but when you got to get into a room with them or get into a shoot with them, that can look very, very different. Freakish Workshop said, my main cosplay photographer for the past few years was primarily a nature photographer. Exactly. I know. I remember you telling me about that. There's definitely one that I know. I cannot think of their name right now, but they do primarily sports shoots. Like, they work with I think they work at Toronto FC and a few other local sports leagues, and they shoot that. And they're like, I want to try cosplay. And it wasn't with me, but I know the cosplayer they were working with, and they're like, I really like it now. I want to start doing more cosplay shoots, because that's the thing. If they're doing something like a nature shoot, or they're doing something like a like sports or anything like that, once the weather gets crummy or the sports ends, they kind of don't have a lot to do. Cosplay you can kind of do all year long, as long as you got a location. Phantom Frontier, Divinity Photo Studios is starting a branch out into cosplay headshot photography. She's making the jump from products to people and seems super excited. 3, 2, 1. My English is horrible tonight. And she's super excited to start booking for the new year. That's great. That's great that Divinity's starting to do those, because I think that'll give them a great outlet to get some new clientele that they may not be wanting to do, or they may not have thought about doing before. And the best part about if you can find a photographer that does, a cosplay shoot and does other stuff, like say they also do wedding photographers. If you're getting married, you already got a photographer ready. So it's a great thing to have. So after you've picked your photographer, you really got to think about what your expectations are for the shoot, because this is something that I've run into personally that I didn't really think was an issue, because I had one photographer, and then when I went to a second one, I realized how good I had it with that first photographer. So you guys want to talk about poses, you want to talk about the energy of the shoot, you want to talk about locations, your comfort level, turnaround time, and what you both kind of want out of it. So when we talk about poses, like, this is something that you definitely want to come into. And Marcy said, hi all, I can't see you on camera, ironically, Mike, for your topic tonight. So with the poses, this is what I kind of ran into at one of the shoots. You've never seen this shoot. I've never posted it because I was not thrilled with it. This was a shoot that I won a contest for, and I was super excited. And Freakish Workshop just kind of brought it up. With Tyrone, I have a couple ideas. Like, I know that Tyrone is going to come in with a whole bunch of ideas that he's already come up with. And I've got a couple, but I've done photography in the past, so I kind of know what their mindset is. I feel as the subject, I would rather let them tell me what to do than me tell them what to do. So with the poses, I usually show up with 2 or 3 ideas, and Tyrone usually shows up with a whole ton of ideas, and usually his are better. When I won this photo shoot, I did the same thing, and we got ready. We had fun. We kind of had a nice little, talk at the beginning about what we wanted to do. And about 2 poses in, I was like, okay, what ideas do you have? And he's like, I was going to go off what you had. And I was like, shit, like, I don't really have much because I wasn't planning on that. It was interesting because, I didn't want to look at him and be like, well, I guess the photo shoot's over. But we had we kind of talked a little bit, and I just said, let me quickly scroll through my phone and see what I could find. And I found a couple poses, but I was not really prepared for the poses. There's one that's like a high kick, and I'm 37 and haven't stretched in forever. So those poses look like crap. And I just didn't like the photo. Like, he sent me the proofs, and I hated every single one. And it's nothing against him. Like, I've seen his work. He's a great photographer. It was just a bad combination between both of us. So not going to throw him under the bus. That's why I'm not going to say his name. But you really have to have that conversation beforehand of, what are we looking for? Where are we going to shoot? Like, locations are a big deal. Like, that is something that I realized during that shoot is also, like, if you've ever gone to Anime North, there is sort of a cosplay area that everyone kind of shoots in. And if you've seen my Gambit photos, you know that is that area. If you're not happy with that and you want something a little more private, you need to talk to your photographer before that, because you might show up at the shoot and there'll be 10,000 people there taking other photo shoots, and that could throw you off. You might have stage fright that you don't want to pose in front of other cosplayers. So things you got to talk about. Turnaround time, another one. I have heard so many people complain about having amazing shoots with photographers, and then 9 months later they're still waiting on their photos. I can tell you 2 cosplayers right now that are still waiting on photos from Fan Expo last year. And I don't mean last year like 2025, I mean 2024. Like, there's some that just take forever, and most people don't want to be combative. They don't want to be that person who's like, where the fuck is my photos? But it comes to a point where maybe you should have had that conversation beforehand. And if it gets to that point where you haven't had that conversation, you might have to pull that card and be like, hey, I need something because I'm waiting this long. So yeah, definitely have a conversation beforehand, understand all the parameters, even things like cost. Like, cost is a big thing. Like, you need to make sure you get that in writing at the beginning. Like, hey, I'm going to pay you $60 or $100 or whatever, and you're giving me X, Y, and Z for that $60, $100. Because the last thing you want to do is get into that photo shoot, start getting some amazing photos and stuff, and then he's like, okay, now I need another $50 for this, and and then you're screwed. So get everything laid out before you even get close to saying yes, or if you got to sign a paper or drop a deposit or something like that. So once you've figured out your photographer, you figured out what you guys are looking for, do you want to do a planned shoot, or do you want to just shoot on the convention floor? Now, this is important because both of those require many different things. If you just want to do a con floor shoot, that is possibly going to be cheaper. That is possibly going to involve a couple different things. If you want to shoot on the con floor, you need to find a location. And depending on the convention, that could be easier or harder. I know that at Fan Expo Canada, there used to be a lot of corners and areas of the convention that you could kind of duck into and get some privacy and get some shoots done. You can't do that as much anymore because Fan Expo wants to make money and they gotta put something in everything. So trying to figure out that idea of, okay, we're gonna do a con shoot. Where do we want to shoot? Where's a great location to shoot? These are all things you need to think about beforehand. If you want to do and also that is something, the thing you also want to deal with if you're doing if you want to do a con shoot, you need to care about crowds, because that is possibly going to have many people walking around your shoot, and they could be walking in the middle of your shoot. They could be trying to get your attention. These are all things that you don't think about until you get to the shoot. Now, the other thing is the planned shoot. With the planned shoot is you're picking a location, picking a time, picking a, whatever you're going to do, going there and seeing and getting there and meeting that person and doing a planned shoot. Thing with that is you have to come up with all these extra things. If you aren't with someone who, if you're with someone who, may not have a location, that might add an extra cost to it. They may want to bring extra things, which is going to cost extra money and have, extra, but there might be extra benefits because you might get a better shot out of it. There's a whole bunch of things you need to plan for. So again, when you're getting the expectation of the shoot, figure out which one you're trying to go for, because a con shoot looks a lot different than a professional photo shoot. So figure these out before you get to the con or before you figure out any more agreements. Lindsay in chat says they could also try to take a photo while you pose. Yes, that's another thing. So if you are doing a photo shoot at a convention and there are obviously going to be people walking around, you will have the chance of people walking past with their phones taking photos of you while you're getting a photo shoot. If you're cool with that, nothing to worry about. If you're not cool with that, then, this is something you have to think about. And actually going back to the settings and expectations, this is something that I dealt with my wife. Well, I didn't deal with it. I just was not happy with it. My wife did a shoot with a cosplay that she made for a character called Ryder. Is an anime character. I am not familiar with it because I'm not an anime fan, but it was a sort of not tube top, but sort of like went from like bust down. She had like these glasses on. She had some weapons. Really cool costume. However, when we made her visor thing, she couldn't really see too much out of it. So she was just kind of going off what the photographer was saying. And when we got the photos back, it was like all cleavage shots. Like every single one was a cleavage shot. And I'm just like, if you want to do one or two of them, mention it. Like, just say like, dude, like if I was the photographer and I was like, this is what the character poses like, or this is what I think a really good photo will look like, say what it is and just be honest about it. Be like, dude, like this is going to look really incredible if you shoot like this. This is what the photo is going to look like. He never said any of that. They just were all cleavage shots and just this. And I was like, man, like my wife looks incredible. I love these. But it was just so frustrating where I was like, she was really enjoying that cosplay and all you did was take cleavage shots and just her doing this. And I'm like, I like them because I'm her husband and I like having those photos. But as a cosplayer, I'm like, man, like you're sticking with the stereotype of being a crummy photographer. So yeah, so figure that stuff out. And if you get in a predicament like this, we're going to talk about it later of safety and stuff. Well, actually, we'll talk about it right now. Comfort, safety, boundaries, why cosplayers should feel, you have to ask questions. This is something ask a whole bunch of questions. And Fandom Frontier cosplay photography doesn't equal consent. Don't be a creep. Don't be dumb. Don't be gross. Golden rule. Yeah, I know it's crazy that we have to explain that. But definitely ask questions when you're when you're talking with your photographer. Say no if you're not happy with what they want to do. Say no if they want to go somewhere that you don't feel comfortable. If you are feeling the even the slightest uncomfortable, do not go, do not say yes. If it's going to make you feel better, tell them you are bringing a friend with you, whether it is a guy, girl, whatever. Bring someone if you are feeling you still want to do it, but you feel like I'm going to bring someone with you. Just don't put yourself in a predicament where you're going to be very uncomfortable and possibly something might happen. Yeah, just feel comfortable, because here's the end result. If you don't ask the questions, you're going to get crummy photos. You're going to have a really bad time. You're possibly going to have something worse happen, and you're going to be out money. Like, none of these are worth it if you put yourself in a predicament that is going to possibly mess up your safety. Like, that's just, don't do it. It's not worth it. Like, it really isn't. But yeah, and if you're a photographer, don't be an idiot. Like, I'm sorry. It's 2025. I can't believe we still have to say this, but please don't be an idiot if you're a dumb photographer. But yeah, if you do get in a predicament like that where you say you're mid-shoot and something just doesn't feel right, just call it. Just be like, hey, thank you, I'm out. Just walk away. Just walk away. Don't sit there and be like, I spent $50-$60 on this. No, just kill it right then and there. The minute you feel uncomfortable, just walk away. There's 100 photographers out there that will gladly take your photos and won't treat you like that. So, and thankfully the cosplay community is very good at weeding out those type of people who are just like, yeah, these are crummy photographers, don't deal with them. That is why I said at the beginning, when you find photographers you like, talk to other cosplayers, because they'll be the first one that are like, don't deal with that person. But yeah, do not put your safety in jeopardy. And I'm not saying safety as in like the most extreme version. I mean safety like just feeling uncomfortable. Like, this is cosplay, you should be having fun. You shouldn't have to worry about anything. Posing tips. This is something that I'm so glad I did this when I first started just doing stuff in front of a camera or in front of people. You are not going to know how you look unless you practice. I stress that. You can pose every single way you think looks good. It could look absolutely horrible. The best way to learn how you look is to do your poses in front of a mirror. It is the best. And I know so many cosplayers who are just like, they get to photo shoots and they just don't know how to move. They don't know what the right pose is, and they feel that because they've never tried it before. Get yourself a mirror. I got like a 4-foot one here that's attached to the door. Strike a couple poses there. Set up your phone. Set up a tripod. Even just, folks, I will make it as easy as possible. If you have a phone, I think 99% of people have a phone at this point. Get yourself a toilet paper roll. Okay? Get yourself an empty toilet paper tube. Put your phone widthwise up against it. Get a marker. Mark a line. Cut down that line, down the tube about that far. We'll go about 2 inches. Cut it out, and that's your tripod for your phone. That's simple. That is my first tripod. Before I did any of this, when I was shooting videos back during the pandemic, I didn't have a tripod. I didn't think I'd ever need one. I got a toilet paper tube and I cut 2 grooves out of it and sat my phone in it and sat it here on the table. If you want to get it higher, throw a couple books underneath it. Throw a box underneath it. That is the most basic tripod. You should not be able to have a problem with making a tripod in 2025. Practice your poses. Set up your phone. You don't have to record it. Just turn the camera on and see how you look. Because that's the only way you're going to show up. Because, again, the photographer is going to have his ideas of what to do. But if you're like, no, man, I really think I need to look good like this, it's sometimes hard for the photographer to be like, you look like a shit doing that. You look like an idiot. Don't pose like that. You need to practice this stuff beforehand. And especially I've noticed this especially with me. I don't have the best posture. And I know that if I'm not standing correctly, I got a gut. So I know that the day or two before, I have to do a little bit of stretching and a little bit of ab workout because I know that I'm going to be flexing in my stomach as best I can, because otherwise, if I'm in spandex or anything, it looks horrible. But the only way I know that is because I was practicing at home in front of a mirror. So if you're going to pose and you're going to do a photo shoot, practice beforehand. And this is also, if the photographer has some ideas, get him to send you those ideas, and then you can practice those poses when you're at home. So then you're even more prepared when you show up at the shoot, because he'll go pose 1, pose 2, pose 3, pose 4, and you can just boom, 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 rinse, you're done, over. Simple, easy, prepare. This is something that we talked about a little bit at the beginning, and is also is super important because it's going to happen. How to handle bad photos. I talked about it earlier with the other photographer. Thankfully it didn't cost me money. Thankfully I won the photo shoot and it didn't cost me anything. But you are going to get photos that come back, even from great photographers, that just don't work. They don't look good. They're not what you expected. There's probably going to be shots that they're going to give you that you originally hated, and you're like, there's no way this is going to look good, and they might be some of your best work. When you get bad shoots, when you get a bad shot, when you paid for a photo shoot and it comes back and it's garbage, you could have a conversation with them. I would say it's probably a good idea to reach out and try and talk to them about it and be like, hey, maybe there was some miscommunication. Maybe something wasn't talked about. Maybe something, this, that, or the other thing. How they deal with that and how they come back with it, some people can take that criticism as a photographer easy. Some don't. That's something you're willing to risk if you want to have that conversation. I do. Like actually I take that back. I didn't. When that photographer sent me those photos and I was not pleased with them, I kind of kept it to myself, and I just went, okay, like I didn't pay for it, so I'm not going to get grumpy about it. I'm just not going to work with that photographer anymore, because again, he's been recommended by a bunch of different cosplayers, so it's definitely not his work. It's just we didn't mesh well. But yeah, I think you should have a conversation with them if you've paid for a photo shoot and you did all your prep work. If you're not happy with it, I think you should have a conversation. What comes of that? That could be a million different things. They could offer to shoot again. They could say, this is what we agreed on, and this is what you asked for. I don't know about that, but it possibly could happen. Be an adult. Be prepared. Definitely don't go online and spam them. Like, definitely don't do that. I've seen that, sadly, a bunch of times. Compression shirt, big fan. Well, actually, now that when you bring that up, for Superboy and for Green Lantern, I do have bicycle shorts that go up about yay high on my stomach. It actually reaches almost to the bottom of my ribs. And that sort of pulls everything in. The only problem with that is after you eat, it feels like it just compresses on your stomach, which makes you feel like crap. So when we were walking around Toronto Game Expo, I had that under Superboy, and we just went out and literally, like, I have such a sensitive stomach, like everything sets me off. I literally had like a peanut butter and honey sandwich. Like, it wasn't anything big. And like 20 minutes back into the convention, my stomach's just killing me just because it's being compressed. And I'm just like, Edith, can you just kind of stand in front of me? And I just slowly pushed that compression down. And I'm like, I don't care if you can see my stomach at this point. I just want to be comfortable. So it happens. And yeah, I've seen compression shirts work too. And that is something I'm thinking of investing in if I'm going to be wearing Superboy again. But going back to the bad photos, yeah, you're going to... it could happen. Don't go online and slam them. Like, that is something I think we should all just be honest about. Like, it happens, and again, there could be some different factors that could impact the shoot of why it happened. Don't go off online. Like, let's all be mature here. If you want to have a conversation with the photographer and something, he calls you a fucking idiot and like, that's the worst case scenario. You can post something possibly and just say like, hey, maybe don't work with this photographer. Don't do a big smear campaign of them because it looks bad. Like, I think it looks bad on your side trying to do that, because again, there could be just some misinformation that you didn't discuss. And again, I've seen it online with a bunch of different things, not just cosplay, and it just looks bad. Like, I hate seeing it, because again, you don't know all the information and maybe you missed something. So can we slag them online if they're dicks after? I don't like slagging them at all, personally. Like, I'm just not that person. I mean, you do what you do. Like, I can't stop you from doing it, but I'm not a person to slag someone online at all. Like, I grew up in the 90s. That's just not the way I am. I would be that person who would simply just say, don't work with that photographer. Like, if someone asked me, I'd say I wouldn't work with that photographer again. So take that with a grain of salt. If you could post online and just say, if someone asks about a photo shoot, just do that. Again, I don't like slagging people, but that's me. That's just me. Credit etiquette. This is important. This is really important. I try and do this, and I failed a couple times, and thankfully they didn't. I mean, Tyrone doesn't call me out on it, because I give him so much props online. But yeah, if you are posting photos, try and tag the photographer. Like, a lot of photographers have a watermark on their photos nowadays. Try not to cut it on when you post online. Sometimes you have to if you're doing a weird way of posting, but try your best not to pull the watermark. Give them some tags every now and then. Like, I get some people post all the time. I post 3 times a day on Instagram and twice on TikTok, and if I forget once in a while, I apologize. But Tyrone knows me, and we've done a bunch of shoots together, so he knows. And I've even done specific posts of just like, hey, this guy's amazing. Like, I give him some pats on the back for his photos, and just on their own, without even trying to promote myself. Respecting edits, that's another big one that I've seen some cosplayers get upset about. They're not liking some of the edits that are coming in, especially now with the AI boom, and some photographers are trying to throw their cosplay photos into an AI background. That's varying opinions depending on the cosplayer, and this is stuff you need to talk about beforehand of what is going to be edited. I've definitely seen some cosplayers get upset about people who may be taking in a couple inches on their waists and stuff like that, and they're not happy about that. I think it was Rhea Ripley from WWE was talking to some guy interviewing her, and he showed her a photo, and she's like, it's hilarious that everyone loves this photo, yet it is completely altered and not accurate. And the guy was like, I'm so sorry. And she's like, no. She goes, you're not the first one. Like, she's like, I never had long hair in this photo, but for some reason they added long hair. And she's like, I don't know why. I had short hair in this one, but for some reason they put long hair. So definitely having those conversations beforehand of like, what are these final products going to look like? Like, are you going to just do the backgrounds the way they are? Are you going to throw me into, if I'm doing a Horizon Zero Dawn shoot, are you going to throw me into the middle of the forest and stuff like that? Like, kind of get those things beforehand. MBS said you pay for watermark photos. Usually when you're talking to a photographer, you'll kind of come up with an agreement of what you're going to get. With Tyrone, he usually does 25 photos of me, and I shouldn't say he does 25. He usually shoots about 100 plus photos during the day, and he'll break it down to about the best 15, and he'll edit those. With the photographer that I didn't have a good one with, he gave me, I think, 50 shots, and he let me choose which ones were the top 5 or 6. When it comes to watermarked, it depends on the photographer. I know Tyrone, when we first did our few first shoots, he didn't have a watermark. Now he does. I think the last 2 shoots he's done with me, he did add a watermark to the corner. I told him, like, just the way the photos are and the way I do edits and stuff like that, and the way I just shoot them online, they might not have the watermark in it. And he's like, that's fine. He goes, I know you're going to tag me, and if not, I'm going to get a post sooner or later. So it's going to happen. MBS says, if I'm paying for photos, there better not be a watermark on it after I selected my photos that I've paid. That's brutal. And that's something you're going to have to talk to the photographer about. Some photographer, and by the way, folks, let me clarify. Watermark does not mean right across the middle of it. Watermark sometimes just means in the, like a logo in the corner. And that's something you're going to have to talk to the photographer about. That, again, that is something you're going to have to talk to them about, because some have probably dealt with people in the past who have stolen their photos and given credit to someone else. And that's just the way they want to make sure that their photos are, the way they were when they were given to you. So that's just something you're going to have to talk to the photographer about. Some are cool with it. Some aren't. I've had people, in sort of a side topic, I've had people take my cosplay announcement posts where I'll say like the attention, I'm attending, and I've had people just completely take them and use them on their own social media as if they made it themselves, or they grabbed it from and they never credited me. I just messaged, I didn't get pissed. I just messaged them and was like, hey, thanks for using it. More of a, I know it's mine, but I don't care about those things. I'm not that person who's just like, give me back, I should get credit. I don't care. I've just got so many bigger hills to die on than that. But that's me. There's other cosplayers and other photographers out there who may have been burned by that before, and that's just their line of, hey, I need to put my watermark on it. Okay. Cool. Whether you want to work with them or not, that's up to you. Editing style expectations, kind of similar. So light heavy edits. What do you prefer? That's something you definitely want to talk to them about. What do you prefer? Do you want something that's highly edited? Do you want something that's not highly edited? Do you want a whole bunch of special effects? When I worked with Paul Wishart at Toronto, what was the cosplay con called? I can't remember. It was last year in the fall. We did a quick shoot, and he messaged me. He sent me the photos, and then he messaged me a couple days later. He's like, hey, I've been working with this little program. Do you mind if I kind of put extra flames and stuff in the background and in the foreground? And I'm like, I don't care. It doesn't matter to me. It's your photo. So, and it's probably one of the coolest looking shots that he gave me. But definitely having those discussions, like, are you cool with me doing a whole bunch of edits? Are you cool? Do you just want the raw photos? People want different things. Like I said, some people wish that their photographers were also crazy editors and did, big AI, not AI, but big Photoshop backgrounds and put all this extra stuff into it. Some photographers can do that. Some can't. A lot can't. A lot just like doing photos. So it's whatever you come to an agreement with. I know, not Saphira, Kamui Cosplay was definitely talking about that recently, because she gets her husband does a lot of her shoots, and he's good at doing the shoots and doing the post edits through Photoshop and Adobe Illustrator and stuff like that. If you have that person that can do that, that's great. But with a lot of photographers, that might be another person that you have to pay to do their own edits. And that is another thing that you might have to think about. And I've had this conversation with Tyrone, because if a photographer takes a photo and you come to an agreement that I like the photo, it looks good, and then you send it over to someone to edit it, they may not like the edits, and they may not be cool with them doing the edits. So again, this is a whole bunch of things you need to communicate early on and figure out, like, are you cool with this? Another thing you want to talk about, and this is something that isn't really in the list, but I just realized it. When you're getting your photos and you have these amazing photos, the next thing you might want to do is you might want to sell those photos. Like, I have three photos that I bring to conventions that are 8x10s. I know nobody wants them, but it's one of those, they didn't cost me much, so I got them done. And I asked Tyrone, I was like, hey, I'm going to use your photos to make a profit. Are you cool with this? And he's like, yeah, it's no problem. Like, it's no big deal. They're your photos. Some photographers are not cool with that. So if you were going to take photos that are done by a professional photographer and you're going to make something like prints or posters or t-shirts or something, definitely reach out to them before you start making purchases, because they might not be cool with you making that extra money off of it. They may want to, discuss something like, hey, you're going to pay me, an extra couple bucks to use those photos, because after that point, they're not making any money off it. You are. So that could cause an issue. A couple more and then we're going to get out of here. Avoiding the photography pressure. If you do not have the funds or the capabilities to get a photographer and do a big professional shoot, don't feel like you have to. Like, seriously, we all have phones. We all have a backyard or a park or something like that. We all have friends. Just take a photo. Like, just if you got a blank wall like I have behind me, set up your phone and take a photo. You don't have to get a professional photo. It's nice if you can, but don't go into debt over it. Don't put so much pressure on yourself that, I've done this amazing cosplay. I have to have an incredible photo shoot for it. No, you don't. You don't have to have an incredible photo shoot. You have to do whatever makes you happy. And if you can afford to get a photo shoot done, great. And make sure you're not putting that pressure on yourself that, it's just not a good cosplay if I don't have a great photo shoot of it. No, it's still a great cosplay, and you're doing what's within your means. Like, if I didn't have the funds to do it, I would not be getting photo shoots done. Hell no. There's no way. And that's the thing. I could get more photo shoots done. I could easily call Tyrone. I got Paul Wishart, who we've worked before. I could definitely call them and be like, hey, let's do a photo shoot in the next 3 weeks. They'd be more than happy to do it. But I don't need to do a photo shoot with every single cosplay. When I finish Darius, I'm probably going to get a photo shoot done because that's going to be a really cool cosplay. But you don't have to. So please don't put that pressure on yourself. And growing with the photographers is such a great thing. If you can find a photographer that you work well with, man, stick with it. Stick with it. Like, I know without a shadow of a doubt that no matter what character I pick and whatever cosplay I have, I know if I go to Tyrone tomorrow and I'm like, let's do this photo shoot, he'd have 10 ideas. He'd have a location shout ready to go the next day. I know it, and I know what kind of photos I'm going to get. I don't have to worry that it's going to take 6 months. I don't have to worry that, I hope these photos come back properly. I know what I'm getting into because I've done 5 shoots with him now. And I know his work. So if you can find someone you work well with, don't let them get away. Because, man, it is great to have that person in your back pocket. Because if you have a situation like I do where you need that photo shoot for some, random thing that's coming up, like you get accepted to a magazine or something, you can easily make that call and you know that they'll probably be able to help you pretty quickly and you won't have to worry about this whole planning and understanding and all that. You can just call them and be like, hey, I got this cosplay. Can we shoot in 3-4 days? You free? Cool. Love it. And again, I know that Tyrone is going to have something good for me when he's shot me as Ghost Rider. He shot me as Gambit, but he's also shot me as Dunkmaster Darius, which is a video game character that doesn't really have any artwork, and Dash Rendar, who's a Star Wars character who is a completely different style. But all of them turned out amazing because he did his research and he's a great photographer, and I came up with my ideas and we just had a great time. So to close, folks, if you were wanting to get a photographer and you wanted to do a photo shoot, do your research, look into the photographers, find one that fits your style, do a lot of prep the first time, because if you do a lot of prep that first time and get all your questions answered at the beginning, the rest of the times you work with them, it's going to be so much easier, so less stressful. It's going to be so fun, and you're going to get some amazing shots. Am I the only one who gives tips to photographers? No, I do. I give Tyrone. I know Tyrone. I don't. Okay, I shouldn't say this. I'm not going to say I don't think Tyrone gives me a deal, but I don't think he's raised my prices since I started shooting with him. So I'm pretty sure I know what his rate is now with new cosplayers, and I give him that rate because he deserves it. Like, he gives me a really good, he's always giving me a good deal, and I'm like, dude, you're doing so much for so little. Here's some extra, man. You deserve it. So yeah, I definitely give him a tip. I mean, I give a tip to my cosplayer. Ew, gross. It's his wife. We all have friends. I don't have friends. I have family. Aw, yes, he does. So yeah, don't put too much pressure on yourself for doing cosplay photo shoots. They're really fun, and if you can find a great photographer in the area, you'll get some really cool shots. Don't put pressure on yourself. That is something I have to stress, because I know every bloody cosplayer at some point is like, I have to do this, I have to be better. No, you don't. Just cosplay. Just enjoy it. And if it's a cosplay, if it's a photo shoot where you got a phone set up here and you got a blank wall behind you and you're standing there, just enjoy it. Just enjoy it. Don't put too much pressure on yourself. All right, folks, I'm going to let you guys get out of here. We're at the 1 hour mark. Thank you so much for tuning in. I greatly appreciate you guys jumping in and watching the show. If you're still here, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. All of you on Instagram and all you people on TikTok too, do the same thing. Next week, we're going to be back. We're going to be talking about special effects in cinema. We're going to talk about practical versus CGI, where practical has worked, where CGI has worked, and a whole lot more. I really appreciate you guys being here. I hope you have a great week. I will, again, probably be on live at some point doing some cosplay stuff, doing some 3D printing, prep work, and etc. Have yourselves a great night, folks. I love you all, and I will see you very, very soon. Take care, folks. See ya. Hey, thanks for watching Monday Night Nerd. If you enjoyed this content, please hit the subscribe button, like this content, and follow on social media for even more nerdy fun. See you soon.